All right, let's dive right in. We're going to take a journey to the absolute heart of matter itself. In this explainer, we're exploring the structure of the atom. The fundamental building block of, well, literally everything. And no, that's not an exaggeration. Think about it. The chair you're in right now, the air you're breathing, even the screen you're looking at. It's all just a super complex arrangement of these teeny tiny particles.
For the longest time, people thought atoms were it, the end of the line, the smallest possible thing, this final, indivisible piece of the puzzle. But then, as scientists got cleverer with their experiments, they started to realize, wait a minute, the story goes deeper. The atom itself is made of other stuff.
And that's the million-dollar question, right? If everything is made of atoms, what are atoms made of? To figure that out, we've got to zoom in. I mean, way, way in.
Okay, so it turns out that old idea of an indivisible atom? Yeah, not quite right. Atoms are actually these tiny, self-contained systems, and they're made up of even smaller, more fundamental bits and pieces. The basic layout of an atom is just wild. You've got two main parts. First, there's this super dense, really heavy core called the nucleus, and then there's this huge region of mostly empty space around it. The scale is what gets me. Get this. If the nucleus was a marble in the middle of a football stadium, the electrons would be like tiny specks of dust flying around way out in the top bleachers. Almost all of it is just empty space.
So, in those two regions, you find our three key players. Jammed into that tiny nucleus, you have the positively charged protons and the neutrons, which have no charge at all. Then, whizzing around in all that empty space are the negatively charged electrons. And that's it. Just those three particles in different combinations make up every single thing in the entire universe. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, so if everything is built from the same three pieces, then how is one element different from another? This is where the whole thing gets, well, it's just so simple and elegant.
What makes gold, a shiny, heavy metal, different from oxygen, the gas we need to breathe? It all comes down to a single, super simple number.
And that number is called the atomic number. It's just the number of protons in the nucleus. That's it. This one number, and only this number, is what defines an element. It's like the atom's unique fingerprint or its social security number. It's non-negotiable.
Let's grab an example. Say, the number 6.
So any atom anywhere in the universe that has exactly 6 protons in its nucleus, that's carbon. End of story. It's not 5, it's not 7, it's 6. If you gave it one more proton making it 7, it wouldn't be a heavy carbon, it would be a completely different element. Nitrogen. Add another, you get oxygen. See? The proton count is everything.
Now the atom's weight. That's a slightly different story. For that, we look at the mass number. And all that is the total count of the heavy stuff in the nucleus. So you just add up the protons and the neutrons. The electrons are so incredibly tiny and light, they barely even register on the scale, so we kind of just ignore them when we're talking about mass.
And this idea of neutrons brings us to something really cool, isotopes. You can think of them as, like, different flavors or siblings of the same element.
This picture of hydrogen's isotopes shows it perfectly. Look, all three of these guys have one proton. That's what makes them hydrogen, right? But check out the neutron count. The first one has 0 neutrons, the next one has 1, and the third has 2. So they're all hydrogen, but they have different weights. They're heavier or lighter versions of each other.
So, here's the main takeaway. Since isotopes have the same number of protons, they behave the same way chemically. They are the same element. But that different number of neutrons changes their mass, and this is a big one. It can also affect how stable they are.
So you might be thinking, okay, a few extra neutrons, who cares? Well, it matters a lot. Because that little variation is the key to some seriously powerful real-world applications.
Yeah, that whole stability thing is the secret sauce. Some of these isotopes are unstable, and to become stable, they have to release energy. That process is called radioactive decay. And these special radioactive isotopes have turned out to be one of the most incredible tools in all of modern science.
We've figured out how to use their unique properties for a crazy range of things. We used them in medicine to find and treat diseases like cancer. We used them in agriculture to see how plants are using fertilizer. We used them to keep our food fresh longer. And we even used them to figure out how old dinosaur bones are. It's amazing.
Just stop and think about that for a second. The weird physics happening inside a tiny, invisible nucleus is the reason we can grow better crops and keep our food from spoiling. That's a direct line from some really abstract science right to the food on your plate.
But, for all the crazy power locked up in the nucleus, the real day-to-day action, the story of how atoms actually hook up to build the world, that all belongs to the electrons. They're the ones responsible for, well, all of chemistry.
You can kind of think of atoms as having one main goal in life, to get a full, stable outer shell of electrons. They hate having an incomplete set. Take this sodium atom, for example. It's got this one lonely electron in its outermost shell, which makes it feel really unstable. The easiest fix for it? Just get rid of that electron. And when it does that, it now has more positive protons than negative electrons, so the whole atom becomes a positively charged particle we call an ion.
And that's it. That simple act of giving, taking, or sharing electrons just to feel stable is what creates chemical bonds. Those bonds are the glue that sticks atoms together to form molecules. We're talking about molecules of water, protein rock, life itself, the whole shebang. All of chemistry, all of biology, it all just boils down to this basic need for a stable outer shell of electrons.
So when you step back and look at it, it's just 3 tiny particles and a few simple rules. And from that, our entire, incredibly complex and beautiful universe is built. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? With such simple ingredients, what else are they building out there?